So Monday night's game against the Lakers brought a couple of interesting subplots. Obviously, no LeBron James. So, you could say, hey, it's an opportunity for Bulls to sneak a victory out. Me personally, I'd rather beat him with LeBron. I want to beat teams at their absolute best, not just exploit and take advantage of major key injuries that they have, but that's the nature of the beast. Like the Bulls are without Vucevic. Obviously, it's not even trade, but you get what I'm saying. Like, if LeBron was there for the Lakers and Vuce wasn't for the Bulls, the game still goes on. You got to beat who's on the schedule. You got to beat who you're playing at the time that you're playing them. So that was the story coming into this game. You also have Kobe White making his season debut. After being on the shelf with injury to start off the year, he was going to be slowly worked into the game, maybe play about 10 minutes or so. Try to see Billy Donovan how he's going to try and work Kobe White in the rotation while also not taking way too many minutes, hopefully, from a guy like an Alex Caruso or a guy like Ayo Dosunmu. And speaking of Alex Caruso, it was his revenge game. Coming back to LA to face his former team, the Lakers, who took a pass on him in the offseason by deciding to re-sign Taylor Horton-Tucker and others. So lots of interesting subplots here. Obviously the Bulls, this is the second game of a back-to-back after beating the Clippers on Sunday night. Here's a chance to sweep in LA in the Staples Center against these two teams for the first time since 2011. That's going back to Tibbs days and Joakim Noah days and Derrick Rose MVP form type of days. That's how far back we're going. And the Bulls came out of the gate pretty strongly here. They were up 33-25 after one. Westbrook, I call him West Brick, but yeah, West Brick had 8 points in the first quarter, and Anthony Davis surprisingly only had 2 points, and that came right at the very end of the quarter. It seemed like the Bulls playing more of this small ball lineup actually made it harder for the Lakers to work the ball to Anthony Davis either in the post or on the perimeter. Really surprising that with a lot of LeBron, they wouldn't make a more conscientious, concerted effort to get a superstar talent like Anthony Davis more involved in the offense. They weren't able to do so in that first quarter, and they certainly didn't. Meanwhile, the Bulls shot 57% from the field in the first, so offensively, a smooth kind of efficient start. Defensively, yeah, Westbrook had 8 points, but also had the type of 8 points where it wasn't really having a ton of impact on the game, and meanwhile, Anthony Davis was being completely taken out of the picture. And in the second quarter, it was really more of the same. The Bulls continued to shoot the ball well. DeMar DeRozan had 22 points at the half, so his homecoming back to LA, certainly is doing him well. He had 22 points and 8 of 14 shooting in the first half. Zach LaVine was 17 himself, including 5 of 9 from 3. For a Bulls team without Vucevic, when you get DeRozan and LaVine putting up 39 combined points in the first half, you're feeling pretty good about things. Because while Westbrook had 19 points for the Lakers, he was inefficient as a shooter, as he always fucking is. And Anthony Davis had an incredibly quiet first half. He only had 7 points on, even more surprisingly, 4 shots. So yes, get to the free throw line a little bit, whatever, but that's a lack of opportunities for a marquee major star. The fact that they were so unable to get the ball to Anthony Davis or, making a concerted effort to get the ball to Anthony Davis more in the first half just didn't happen was absolutely stunning to me. And I thought was a big key to this game in the first half and a big reason why the Bulls were up 57-48 at halftime. And at that point, I was a little concerned only because I'm like, the Bulls have clearly been the better team in the first half. But if Anthony Davis is lurking around and he starts getting the ball more and he starts tearing up the Bulls' ass a little bit because they really don't have anybody that can match up with him truly one-on-one, this could be a problem. Instead, what happened, it was more of the same, and the Bulls actually blew the game wide open in the damn third. They were actually up 94-73 after 3. After 3 quarters, DeMar DeRozan had 36 points, so he had a big third quarter that really helped spearhead this opening the game wide open. Meanwhile, for the Lakers, it was more of the same challenges. Anthony Davis certainly was frustrated. He was upset, agitated, and I can't blame him. Not so much for any foul calls or lack of foul calls, but just the fact that he wasn't getting the ball much. He was a guy, even in that third quarter, he started to come out and play better, and he put up 13 in the quarter, but, you know, it's probably a culmination of frustration of a number of things. The poor defense of the Lakers, the fact that he didn't have the ball more in the first half, the fact that he probably had a couple of plays where he thought a foul should be called and they didn't, and he ultimately had already gotten teed up earlier in the game. He got a second technical here, and he was ejected. And at that moment, any real chance the Lakers had of maybe thinking like, hey, even though it's a big deficit, we can come back here at home, was gone. My question is how the fuck wasn't LeBron James given a tee? Last time I checked, he might be the general manager of the Lakers, but he was in street clothes. He had no business on the goddamn court. What the hell is he doing out there? I don't give a shit if it's LeBron James or not. Light his ass up, give him a technical. He shouldn't be out there. Period. Of course, it didn't happen. Anthony Davis did get his second tech, though, and he got rung from the game. And even though the Lakers showed a little spirit early, like they were trying to make a game of it, Lonzo Ball came out on fire in the fourth, which really kind of helped ice it. And the Bulls ultimately were able to win pretty comfortably. The second half of the fourth quarter, there was really no doubt they were going to win this game. Chicago ends up winning 121-103, as I referenced earlier. It's the first time the Bulls have swept both LA teams in the Staples Center since 2011. If I remember during the broadcast they talked about this was back in that lockout shortened season of 2011-2012, and Derrick Rose hit that game winner on Christmas Day against the freaking Kobe-led Lakers, and they came back and they beat the Clippers there as well. The Bulls had some key things that broke their way in this game. They had a 54-40 point advantage in the paint, which, considering the smaller ball lineups that were running more consistently, is a surprise. But also, I think in some ways a representation of how the Lakers didn't do a better job of understanding their matchups and exploiting it. Like, the Bulls were going to have trouble guarding Anthony Davis. They should have fed the ball to Anthony Davis more. Like, sitting there and letting Russell Westbrook be so damn ball dominant was stupid. And they paid the price for it in this game. Stacey King talks about it all the time on the broadcast. KYP, know your personnel. Know your own personnel, but know the opponent's personnel. This game plan should have run through Anthony Davis, not away from Anthony Davis in the first half. The Bulls also had an advantage, 20-12 in terms of fast break points. DeMar DeRozan had a fantastic game again here in LA, finishing with 38 to lead the way. And that was with basically being able to go on cruise control in the fourth quarter. Lonzo Ball ended up finishing with 27 and Zach LaVine with 26. Look, if you're on the road and you're going to combine 91 points from those three guys, you're going to win a lot of games. It's not sustainable on a daily basis, but in this spot, they needed those three guys to play big, and they delivered in a big, big way. And then you got Derrick Jones Jr. coming off the bench. He gave them 13 points and some really good energy and some good effort. So even though it wasn't a banner night, for some of the other bench members, like Caruso was very quiet offensively, didn't score. Certainly had impact in the game in other ways, but it didn't really matter. The Bulls won very comfortably because DeBallZach teabagged the fuck out of the Lakers here. Meanwhile, for the Lakers, Talen Horton-Tucker led the way with 28, but some of those points, to be fair, came in fourth quarter garbage time. But still, you could see why he's an intriguing talent for them. Anthony Davis had 20 points of 6 of 9, and that was only in 3 quarters before the ejection. So he was certainly getting to the foul line, but he wasn't getting a lot of shots and a lot of opportunities, and I can imagine that frustrated him, as it should have. Westbrook finished with 25, but of course, it was a spectacular, sparkling, stunning 0 for 6 from three-point land. And why the hell you would ever let Russell Westbrook shoot a three-pointer, I don't fucking know. So, reality is, the Bulls came in, and they got shit done, and they handled their fucking business. And I've been impressed with this team the past 2 games. Like, after the egg that they laid in the ESPN game on Friday night against the Warriors, you're like, okay, how are you going to respond? Like, you have to take the Clippers seriously because they were on a roll going into that game. They had won 7 in a row. And the Lakers, even without LeBron James, you've still got Anthony Davis, you've still got Carmelo Anthony, you've got Russell Westbrook. Like, that's still a team with talent that could do some big things, that could beat you on a given night. And they're not a terrible team. They're just underachieving maybe to some people's overinflated expectations for them because of all the names associated with that roster. But the Bulls came in, and the Lakers had absolutely no answers for DeMar DeRozan. They had no answers for Zach LaVine, and Lonzo Ball also gets some revenge on his old team. As much as we were talking about Alex Caruso coming back to LA to face his old team, Lonzo Ball's doing the same damn thing. He was originally a draft pick of the Lakers. He was shipped out as part of the Anthony Davis deal. And he had to feel good coming back and having 27 on his old squad. But a really good performance here after that Friday night loss to have 2 straight wins in LA. You've got 2 more games left on this road trip. Let's hope the Bulls can go out and handle business on Wednesday night. But I was encouraged by what I saw tonight. Kobe White, meanwhile, didn't do shit. Like, I still feel like the opportunity was missed by this Bulls front office to package both Kobe and Patrick Williams in the offseason. And I'm going to continue to stand by that. Like, I was right. And it bothers some of you, but you know I'm not wrong here. You're waiting for guys to develop that may never develop. Meanwhile, I'm trying to win a fucking championship. This is a really good Bulls team. We still haven't found out if they're truly great, but really good to say the least, because they've handled business the last 2 nights in LA, that's for damn sure.